call the February 5th, 2018 Management Services meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? I guess the only correction will be Johnson Controls won't be here. Other than that, I think everything else. Is there a second to the motion? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Are there any public comments?
I have a public comment.
Yeah.
So, in my conversations with many different agencies from inside this facility, I just want to remind everybody in our committee that since all of us haven't been here since Fido was an embryo, we need to remember that, it put us in a real bad position at the last board meeting with your surprise introduction of the health department. And it caused a lot of bad feelings, which I don't think we need to do. I think we need to be on top of that game and make sure that we want everybody in here to know that we support them and that we are trying to work for the best alternatives. So I would like to once again encourage that we're not keeping things hidden from all board members, and we share information so that we don't make it look like we're pitting agencies against each other or picking favorites or anything else. Got a lot of calls on this issue, and it's hard to say, well, I didn't know, when they're sure that we did know. So we need to make sure that doesn't happen again.
I will do my best. I try to share, but sometimes I don't do the best job.
May I make a comment?
Yeah.
I brought the article that she's talking about for separate consideration in the county board meeting, only to help solve the problem. If we had voted to go ahead and occupy one space, it would have turned out later down the road we'd probably be playing musical chairs with the rooms. I think we should get it all done at one time. Without the input we didn't have last management meeting, we should have had input of everybody that needs to move before we make one move. I'm anxious to get this done because there are departments, including our veterans services, that need more room, and they need it now. That's the only reason why I brought it out of context for vote. I think it was worthy to do it that way.
Well, I agree, but for 3 months there was plenty of opportunity for that information to come forward, and it didn't. So that's my only point.
Okay. I thought you were trying to say that I did something wrong by that motion. Thank you.
No.
No.
Any other public comments? Then we will move on to the presentation by SmartWatch.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Maury Cummings. I know it says Gary on there. He's the one that contacted you guys, but I'm the local representative for SmartWatch. So here's some cards for you. I'll just be brief today. 3 minutes. Okay. That's what I figured. Alright. So basically, our company's SmartWatch. Our office is in Northbrook, just north of Chicago. And just want to kind of basically what we do is we focus on county building improvements that are centralized around energy efficiency. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Local Government Energy Conservation Act, which is a legislative statute that enables performance contracting, energy performance contracting, and then also the Future Energy Jobs Act, which is kind of a solar renewable type legislation. So those are the two things I wanted to talk about today and just kind of see if those are a good fit for you guys, if you've looked into it at all. So briefly here, just some information on SmartWatch. We're a smaller company. Like I said, we have an office in Northbrook. We're actually based out of Albany, north of Albany, New York, is where our headquarters is. But we're a smaller company that focuses on design build projects. So we've done a number of large facilities, Amazon, FedEx, Pepsi, and then a lot of county buildings, and that's kind of a lot of our competitors like Johnson Controls and Siemens, they focus on K through 12. We've kind of grown a niche with county facilities because they kind of have their own unique issues that we kind of have a good rating with. This just shows our net promoter scores, so basically our customers that would recommend us after we finish a project for them, and it just compares us to some of the other larger companies that are known for customer service. Next just shows some counties that we're working with in Illinois. All these counties are kind of in different stages of their projects, and I just highlighted some of the ones that have a solar aspect to them. Most of those are just a small piece is going to be solar, very small, except for Alexander County, which about 90% of that project is solar, and they're going to be reducing their energy usage by about 66% for the entire county by doing that project. So the first thing I wanted to just touch on is the Future Energy Jobs Act, which is the legislation that went in place this past summer. I think you guys were at one point looking at a solar farm. I don't know if that was something that you're still pursuing.
We have a solar ordinance and we were approached.
Yeah, I heard it on the radio when I was in the area, and that's the only reason why I hadn't heard anything else about it, but I was...
It was going to be on our farm, actually, but now we've rented the farm out. We're not...
Right, you're going to lease the land to them.
Until something happens.
Right. So this is completely different than that. This is basically a solar array that you're going to own, and you're going to get the benefits from it. So what they probably didn't get into, which is the big reason why solar is becoming like a big thing in Illinois. It's kind of the state to do solar in right now because of the new regulations. So companies are coming in from California and from the East Coast. And the big reason is this second line here. This is SREC, is what they say for short, but it's a solar renewable energy credit. And it's essentially like a stock market for solar credits. So for every 1,000 kilowatt hours you produce with your solar array, you get one credit, and those credits can be worth $100, $200. So some of these bigger systems, they don't even have to be real big, but 100 kW, which is would probably fit on the roof of this building or something like that. That'll get you guys, $40,000 a year, and they basically fix it for 15 years. But what they're doing for nonprofits and governments is they're actually paying it all up front. So you get 15 years worth of this up front. So Alexander County, for example, they have a smaller array. I think it's a 91 kW, and they're going to get basically a check right when it's installed for $190,000, and that basically helps, obviously, with paying for the project. And the biggest thing with solar, obviously, there's a lot of benefits to it. It's still a fairly new technology, but it's been around since the 70s. People haven't been using it until recently. Basically the thought process is with these projects is reduce your current consumption by doing things like LEDs and higher efficiency, cooling, things like that, and then produce your own, and then if there's an option for storage, then that's something to look at. So how it's paid for. So this basically gets into the other legislation. So these projects, if solar is incorporated, it's basically two different legislations working together. So this is for performance contracting. So essentially the thought process with performance contracting is that a company like us comes in, we offer a turnkey service where we do the design, do the install, and then we do measurement verification after the project's over. So we tell you you're going to save a certain amount, and then we come back every year, tell you exactly how much you saved. And if it's less than what we said, we have to cut you a check for the difference. If it's more, you keep, the surplus. And that's this just gives a basic example. These are what your utility bills, utility expenses are now. We come in, reduce that, and then a portion of what it was reduced goes towards paying off the project. So these projects are paid for with money that you're already spending, so you're not spending anything additional out of pocket. There's no additional taxpayer dollars. You're working out of your operational expenses, so you're basically able to do a capital project without doing a public referendum. So that kind of saves a lot of time in the process. And then this is just some other benefits. I put the no change orders at top because I think that's one of the most important things about this process is the project cost is guaranteed by our company up front. So if any changes happen with design flaws or anything like that, you guys aren't responsible for it. We are. So that's something that we have to take on. So we are accountable for our design, accountable for our work. So there's no change orders during the project. And guaranteed equipment performance, guaranteed savings, which I spoke about, were any savings shortfalls. So if we guarantee you're going to save $50,000 a year and you only save $40,000 that year, we have to write you a check for the difference, is basically what that means. And that's right in the legislation, so it has to be a budget neutral project. If it costs you 1 penny more than what you're going to be spending, then we can't do it. And that's how the legislation's set up. So that's where the no out-of-pocket costs come in. No public referendum, like I spoke about. There is a financing mechanism as part of the project. It's not a bond. It's not something that affects your indebtedness. It's basically like an annual commitment for however long the project term ends up being. Typical project term is 10 to 15 years. We usually, kind of the sweet spots are around 12, 13 years. And that's basically what that means, is that it'll take, with the savings that you get, it'll take about 12 to 13 years to pay off the project. And that's kind of where these sample financials come in. This is from an actual project that we completed. This is 11 years. So basically that top amount is the project cost. Then we go and find whatever utility incentives are available. So those SRECs would be part of that for the solar. Any Ameren incentives or anything like that, we go and get those. If there's grants available, we have grant writers, we'll go get those. So it basically takes that top amount off, and then that just helps the project pay itself off a little faster.
Excuse me, when you go and get those grants or their incentives, and that's the one you take 50% of it?
We don't take any of that. We just, you get all of it. It just comes off the top line for the project. So that basically the difference is what has to be paid back. So we want to go get as much grants for you guys as possible, because that just makes the project that much better for you, and you're going to want to do it a lot more because it's going to look a lot better financially. The cash flow is going to look a lot better. And then there's just a number of improvement measures for county facilities. A lot what we see is in jails, water consumption is usually real high, so there's a lot of water conservation measures that can be done. LED lighting is usually an easy, low-hanging fruit one. Most buildings need some LED lighting. If you have the fluorescents, usually LEDs will cut those in half for using solar, obviously. Any mechanical equipment improvements, so typically trying to get, condensing, high-efficiency boilers in there. Another big one is building envelopes, so windows, doors, just general infiltration, sealing up the building so it's a little more efficient. So we kind of put all those things together in one comprehensive project. So what the benefit there is, typically if you replace a heating unit, the payback from an energy standpoint is going to be 25, 40 years, depending on the unit that you have. But if you do lights, you're more of like 6, 7, 8 years. You kind of put those together, and it puts it in kind of an average year that's more reasonable, more manageable to justify from a savings standpoint. And then lastly, and then I'll be out of here. This is basically the process. So it's a long process. The good thing about it is it's very methodical. It's very set up. Where we work together. You guys make a decision. You feel comfortable with it. We complete that step, and then we have to come back to make another decision. So you're not taking on too much at once, and you can kind of take it one step at a time. Feel comfortable with it, and it kind of helps you go through that process, especially if you haven't gone through a project before. A lot of counties we work with do phase projects. So you start with a smaller phase, see how it goes. If it goes well, then maybe take on a larger project. And then, so the last thing, just typically you guys will have low bid procurement, low bids for projects that are over a certain amount. So these projects do not have a low bid requirement for the legislation. It's qualifications based. So essentially what we do is we help you guys put it out to bid. Companies like us, Johnson Controls, Siemens, Trane, all the big guys will come and try to put our qualifications in, and you guys basically choose the company you want to work for. So that's the work with. So that's the advantage, is you get to choose who you want to work with, and then we will procure the subcontractors, and typically we'll try to use local guys, but it gives you guys more flexibility with choosing who you want to work with on larger projects, so you're not stuck with low bid. So you can keep the business local, keep the money in the county, and there's a lot of advantages to that. Plus, you get to work with the company that's going to give you the best value, not just the best price. And that's ultimately where these projects save you money, is after the fact, because you're not having as many maintenance costs down the road or having to replace something in 10 years that you just replaced. So it gives you more longevity, and it's just a proactive way to go about it. And that's it. And this is just some of their design-build projects, so there's just some benefits there. It's design-build versus the bid spec with an engineering firm.
Okay. And basically, our heating systems all have 90%, 90+ boilers, so.
Yep.
So what all, other than that, would you be looking at?
So building infiltration, usually just doing basic things like window films and sealing up windows and doors can have a lot of benefits for you guys. The water conservation in the jail is usually a good one. Lighting is usually an easy one, and then solar is obviously always an option, small or big. There's some good savings potentials there. And then there's a number of other things that our engineers look at. And even with newer HVAC systems, there's a lot of little tweaks and things that you can do. If there's a building automation system, things like that, that we can come in. And they're smaller items, but they actually have some good savings potential to them. So what we do is actually, we will perform a feasibility study for you guys. We do that for free. And that is where we kind of figure out, is there a project here? And if there's not, then there's not. That's why we do that. It's just to kind of gauge if there's something there that you guys will actually want to pursue. And if not, then, you know, there's no cost to you guys, so that's just part of the process.
And it's no cost at all?
Correct, yeah. So what I do is I'll collect utility bills for at least 12 months for all the buildings, so that'd be gas, electric, and water. And then someone, you know, would show us around for a day, usually spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours in each building, and that's it. So that's your only commitment, is just some time, some of your time, and then whoever has to get the bills together for us. And then other than that, there's no cost to it. And then I'll come back, share the results with you guys, and then the next step is that bid process, which there's no commitment there, there's no cost to that either. So a lot of counties, they'll go into that process because there's a lot more you can learn about us, looking at our qualifications, and then the commitment doesn't actually come until you've made your selection, and then contract negotiations start then. Then we do a full-on audit at that point, and there is a cost to that. But it gets built into the project cost, so it's budget neutral still. So, like I said, this process cannot cost you guys anything additional to what you're already spending, so that's the benefit of it.
Now, as far as solar, how, I mean, you said how big would fit on our roof here?
I'm not sure. I didn't really look at it too much.
Okay.
But it would be 100 kW or somewhere in that range. I mean, it would be a decent sized system. I haven't looked at the roof if there's a lot of units up there or anything like that.
It's pretty open.
Yeah, so you could probably fit some
It's
decent.
got the spray on foam, so I don't know if that...
Yeah, a flat roof would be a zero penetration system, basically just like ballast footings that it just sits and it holds them on, so you don't even penetrate the roof, so that's good. But yeah, there's a lot of things. You can do ground mount systems too. Typically they end up being a little bit more expensive, but as long as the cash flow works out, then that's an option. But yeah, you can do anything from a smaller systems actually get more of those SRECs that I was talking about, the renewable energy credits. So if you do a system that's like 10 kW to 25 kW, which is, you know, not much bigger than this room, then that would give you like better credits, get you $100 per credit instead of $80 per credit type thing.
Anybody else got questions?
You said that we could locally contract for that. Is it built into the stuff that you do then, that if there's issues, they would come back and maintenance that?
Correct.
I know a lot of times you'll get somebody that'll come from out and then they're just gone, the project's
Right.
done, so we don't.
That's the benefit to it, because we're basically going to be the single point of accountability for the project. So if anything happens, you just call me and I'll take care of it. And we're obligated to do that for the term of the project, because there's guaranteed performance, and if it's not performing the way we said it, we need to make sure we fix it. So there's a lot of benefits to that. And yeah, we'll use local contractors for whatever we can, but we have a vetting process, because obviously we're guaranteeing their work, so we got to make sure they're gonna do a good job for you guys. But most of the time, unless it's like a niche thing, like water conservation or something like that, we're able to find some local guys that can do the work pretty well.
Anybody else? Questions? Okay, thank you. Chris,
Does there have to be some sort of motion or something to
approve
a walk around, or?
yeah,
Okay.
so, does somebody wanna make a motion
I'll make a
let
motion.
him do the initial?
Exactly what you just said.
Feasibility study.
Feasibility study, the free.
Email gets together, so
Yeah. And then I'll just, the contact for like utility bills.
I have that.
You have that stuff? Oh, okay.
Oh, I give you a call right after this meeting, and we'll discuss it.
Perfect.
We'll be there for a while, I think.
Yeah,
Chris Ray.
Chris.
and you'll take him here in the courthouse?
Yeah. The grand tour.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, Johnson Controls is not here. Lighting update discussion. The reason I kind of reiterated that it will be free because the Sylvania Osram one, when we get the letter wanting authorization, they state in it that if they don't get the bid, we gotta pay. That's why it hasn't been, and that's not what we approved. So, so I don't know if we want to just say we're not gonna deal with them then, or what you guys think. You wanna read the letter, pass it around?
I mean, what will they go back on their word?
Right, exactly.
You know?
So I don't know. Give you a minute to read that. While you're reading that, just as an experiment, I changed bulbs in this room. Can you tell which ones?
Yeah. Brighter ones, right?
Yeah. I had a couple of fluorescent bulbs laying around, so I changed 2 wires. It took me longer to take the reflector down than to do anything. So that's what they would have to do to change.
Those are LED now?
Those are LEDs.
Yeah, much different. No doubt
Oh,
about it.
yeah.
So I mean, I did that after policy and procedure, and I put it over there because I know, Chad,
Did I hear you correctly, we don't know them anything at this point?
that's correct, but I know Chad had said that sometimes the LED lights
Will the
affect
others,
him, so.
the other company have an equal
fluorescent.
to this, or what?
What?
Will the other company have an equal proposal, or what?
Did the second one send anything back yet?
Same thing.
And then this one, he said, when I asked directly, that there was no cost. Well, now, he did say the initial one's no cost. Further down the line, it does come with a cost, but it's built into the project.
But the first one's just that feasibility to see if it's even worth,
Right.
so they do an overview, which is. No, they didn't do that, they said it was free.
Yeah.
They come in and
That's-
give us and then, so weren't supposed to disclose what their findings, but,
Well, and we won't disclose the
No,
findings,
but-
but,
no,
which means we probably have to go into a closed session to
Yeah.
discuss it, but,
that's fine,
um,
but that's not what they told us. They were gonna do it free and then we could make decisions, because the whole point was you could compare people.
yeah.
Well, I think just tell them not to come back, unless they want to change that.
Well, have they been here? Okay, well,
Ostrom, correct? That's who
Correct, yeah.
No, ever since that initial one time we walked around, I've not seen. And we've been in contact via email back and forth a little bit, but it's far and few between, so.
Now this is preeminent, that was the second one. They really don't have, I mean, it's just a form they want filled out, right? I didn't see.
I CC'd both of you, I did send them what, Jim had some questions or concerns on, not the preeminent side of the contract, but the utility audit, where they audit the energy bills to find money.
Right.
That company that they use, and so I sent him, you know, the concerns, and I haven't checked to see if a response came back yet.
Yeah.
There's two different agreements.
And the terminology that he used is, when he was here, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it basically was that we would be going into debt for it, which, according to this guy, we should not be going into debt.
No, well, looking at his proposal, on that one page where it shows, here's what you spend now, and then here and here, it appears, and that's for us to ask the clarifying question, but it's the same, because they're not doing a net increase, it's both using what you currently spend, and then you finance the project through the savings.
That's right.
And this one, the difference here is this one lets us have a little bit of it where the payback is quicker, but we don't get to collect. Where with this presentation, it looked like it was spread over 12 years and we get a little bit each year, where under that company, they get everything up front through the first 6-7 years to pay it off. And so, and even there they use the term financing. There's financiers, but it's a net.
And it may be just the terminology he
And
used
that's-
wasn't
but-
exactly correct or whatever.
Yeah, because there is financing, but it's, you're not spending more than what you are now. And it's built into how they recover your costs. And then the difference is how fast it's paid off. And
Which we won't know that actually until they do an audit,
yeah,
see what's needed.
so the util contract, which is a different verbiage, which I don't know if that's in there, but the util one is the one that Jim had questions, and that's the company that will go and audit the energy bills to make sure that Ameren or whoever, NICOR, didn't overcharge us.
Yeah. And that's the one I think Larry was asking, you know, where it was.
Yeah, I had it confused with the two.
Yeah, because the preeminent does two things. The preeminent is going to do like with this presentation, look at everything, but then I think they go one step further with auditing the energy company, but it almost looks like they might audit the energy company also in Smart Watt, but I'm not. That they'll audit them for. So it'll be when they. And there's if those audit, when they do those audits, there's a cost share, or a sharing. And when you ask the 50% out, I think he was on the part of the building envelope type stuff versus did anyone overcharges a tariff or.
Well, I guess that's an update as to what we know and what we've already talked about, so.
But this is cool,
You know,
this is getting people.
You know, he's called maybe one or two of these counties that already have them, see what they think of their work.
I guess, before we get too many things out here, so with the Osram deal then, since they're saying, you just wanna,
I see it. Yeah. Free,
free will do, but if,
Yeah.
so we won't sign, and
No.
that's where they're not gonna go any further, I don't think, until we sign that.
yeah, because they're just focused on one thing. these next companies seem to be.
Which,
So,
I mean, the lighting is what we were concerned about to begin with.
yeah, but that opened the door to everything else, so.
Right. So, I guess, since it was moved to allow them to, I guess we should probably have a motion to,
If they wanna do it for free, and then come present a finding,
well, I guess we can leave it at that.
yeah,
Um,
maybe call them or tell them, like, you know, the presentation and the
You
motion
just
was.
respond back to that letter in writing and say, we are under the impression that this was a free service that would be an evaluation. We do not agree with, nor will we
Okay.
authorize payment in any amount.
They don't even give a figure anyway, they can charge us anything they wanted to.
Okay, well, and I guess if John would respond to them, since you're the one that has to sign it anyway. So, all right. Now, you were gonna contact and try to get Johnson Controls for next week,
Next,
or next month.
yes, they were planned, I met with a gentleman, Jason Myers, last Thursday. They'd been contacting me for a few months and finally set up something. And we did a walk around, he was here probably 3 hours, all the buildings, and discussed a lot of issues. And I told him about the meeting today, and he's like, well, I could probably make that. And so we set something up, and I didn't know that Smart Lot was going to be here. I did let Johnson Controls know that he was going to be here, and he didn't like that idea. He's like, let's set something up for a different time. He didn't want to be here at the same time. So,
Well,
Have to go.
they don't wanna give their presentation in front of somebody else, but usually we send one out. But
and I jokingly said to him that we're not going to make you two, like, you know, duke it out here in front of us, but, you know,
They should, they got a good,
he didn't sound very comfortable with it, and I just said, okay, let's scratch it off, and we can schedule another time if you want. So if you want to set that up for next month,
Yeah,
we
why
can do
don't we
that.
go ahead and do that?
The plate's getting pretty full. These guys.
Well, yeah, but if we're eliminating one, it sounds like, you know,
Need a hearing him too.
just tell them, I mean, it seems like every month we get another company that's kinda doing this, that you should show up.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I guess it makes sense since there's been the legislation, that's why everybody's out doing it. All right, anything else on lighting? I guess
Now, how long are those supposed to last?
LEDs, they should last longer than fluorescent bulbs.
Supposed to be like 10 years, and then, Chris,
But I
10 years on
have-
LED, and they don't blow out, they just get dimmer when they get older.
Yeah, after like a 6 to 8 year period, I'm told that they start to fade. They don't
Yeah, they fade, they don't blow out.
But ballasts still can go out, you know, but that's a whole different issue.
Well, but they don't actually run on a ballast. Everything is contained in the bulb.
So it's self-ballasted then? Okay.
Yeah.
is it a strip or a bulb that you put up?
It's a strip in the bulb.
Yeah,
And the bulb looks like a fluorescent bulb.
yeah,
But, yeah, I mean, basically what I did was just connected the wires to the ballast, and fluorescent, or LEDs, they have pins on both ends, but only one end is active. It comes in, goes through, and goes back out that end. So it's just simple wiring change. Like I said, the longest it was taking that reflector down to get to the wires. So, I mean,
we can do that.
yeah, there's the option of, do you do it a room at a time? Do you do it as bulbs go out, then instead of changing bulbs, you put bulbs in, you know, you change it over, you know. Just something, you know, when we're discussing it, that is an option. It'd take Chris twice as long to change the bulbs as just putting in light bulbs, so. And he's got nothing to do anyway.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking,
Yeah.
that would be my job for about
Well, no,
period.
well, it depends on how we do it. I mean, if this bulb goes out, then you change it over. If that one goes out like it is now, then you change it over. Just notice that looking up.
As well.
So, you know, and just something to think about, something to keep in mind when they come back with a big cost of what it's gonna cost to do it. So, all right, we'll move on, unless somebody's got something else on it. Chris, you're up, maintenance supervisor report.
While we're kind of on the subject, just real quick, I did walk around with Bob Better from Preeminent. So a week ago Wednesday, maybe, I don't have it written down here, but him and I, and he had an engineer with him, and we walked all the buildings and discussed everything, and I've been back and forth in correspondence with him via email. But that, I just wanted to get that out there, that was taken care of. I'll start with this building over here. The backflow preventer, where the water line comes into the building, it has a small leak. And I have a gentleman coming down to work on that actually tomorrow. He's going to fix that tomorrow morning. And during that time, the water's going to need to be shut off for half an hour, possibly an hour. I will notify all the offices beforehand, and I will put notes in the bathroom so people don't start getting very concerned when they can't use the restroom for an hour, but I will post everyone on that. You have to have a special certification to work on backflow preventers, so there really wasn't anyone local to do that. I have a gentleman coming down from Coal City to do it. He comes every year to recertify them, and he's very familiar with them, and he's explaining to me it's not a big deal. So he's going to be here tomorrow morning at 9. Some of you know, and some of you may not know about the heat pump in this room for the air conditioning and the heat. It's getting changed out here, hopefully in the next week or two. It's an old R22 unit, and it's been giving me problems in the year that I've been here, or not even. Shortly after I started here, it was out and not working, and I had to have it recharged. It was already completely out of R22, and I told them, let's not hunt for a leak. This would be a good one to put on the list to swap out. I mean, this is a sort of important room, I think, especially springtime coming. We could get an 80-degree day in March where it could be sweltering in here, and no good. So that's going to be swapped out here soon. A couple inspections over at the other buildings via service contract. Otis, they do a twice-a-year inspection of the elevators. They were there last week. Everything's fine with that. Getz comes once a year to inspect the fire suppression system in the jail kitchen. They make sure that's functioning, and that was done as well. In the jail basement, we had a circuit, a wire that was underneath the poured concrete floor that had shorted out, and we were popping breakers down there, and it was a big headache and a mess. B&D came and helped me hunt that down, and what they ended up doing, they ran a new overhead circuit for that. It ran an exhaust fan, and it was hooked up to the incinerator, and it had just, over the years, underneath that wet floor, it shorted out. So ran a new circuit down there. And then lastly, over there at the jail, that generator had issues again. The control board was out on it that's the third time in like a 2.5-year period. Shortly after I started here. I'm really sure I need to look into it and ask some people, but I'm pretty sure last May the warranty was up on that, and the control board had already been swapped out once. And then in July it went out again, and they honored that, and I never got a bill for it because Steiner Electric has to come down and work on that because it's all proprietary stuff in there. It's all Kohler, and they're an authorized Kohler person to work on it. And here about a month ago, it was going into overvoltage every time it would run an exercise, and it was the control board again. And they swapped it out again, and everything is fine, but we'll see what happens now. And I'm assuming I won't get a bill for this, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that the part's still under warranty.
Yeah, because that's what they were saying too, that it wouldn't be a whole unit warranty, it would just be that particular part. And, my God, it's only been, I don't know how long, but once again, it's working fine. Maybe this will be the lucky control board that actually works, I don't know. Other than that, guys, if you have any questions for me, anything going on, I can answer that. That's pretty much everything of significance going on this month. That's all I have, man.
Do we have a scheduled date on this yet, or, I mean, you said it's in.
No, I was up there at Weber's speaking with Tom Marchino, and he said that this was last Wednesday or Thursday, I had to pick up a card up there. Oh, that's another thing too, I had a leak in the basement of the jail, a vent. My terminology evades me at the moment.
Yeah, air vent for the
The air
heating
vent
system.
is leaking from time to time, and I ordered a new one, I'm just gonna swap that out myself, but it'll leak a little bit and then stop and then leak and then stop, nothing crazy, just enough that it needs addressed, and I'm kinda hoping that it can wait till the end of the heating season, so I don't have to, for obvious reasons, but I was up picking up a part for that, and he said, yeah, it was either supposed to be in that day or late last week sometime, so, we should get scheduling this here real soon. So I'm assuming by the next time we have a meeting next month, it'll have been done, so.
Okay.
Chris, you think that there's a voltage regulator or something that's out on that generator that causes that control board to keep burning out?
I honestly don't know.
There's gotta be a problem causing that.
Metro Power comes down and they service them and they run all these diagnostics on them and whatnot, and everything seems to check out fine, and then now, like I said, this is the third one.
Yeah.
And that's one of the newer generators, and it's the exact same one over here for the health department too that has not had an issue, so I don't know. There was a thought initially that underneath that big antenna, the tower over there, that lightning could be a factor, but that's obviously not in the winter, so we haven't had a storm, so that sort of X's that one out.
Thank you.
Okay, county farm management issues. Have fertilizer bids. And we may have to, maybe these all come in the same day. There was a correction, one of the ones that were bidding found something that they thought was wrong in the soil test. So they called me, and I called the soil test guys, and they sent a revised thing out, so. But these all came in the same, so they should all be with the same information, so. First one is United Prairie. Total bid based off of low rate, because there was two different recommendations they gave. Based off of low rate VRT match, required amount 391.37 per acre. Their total is $18,221.48 or $46.56 per acre. United Prairie again, based off the high rate VRT maps, $28,709.63 or $73.38 per acre. And I asked him, because he had some concerns about stuff, he put a little note on here, I would not go with this recommendation as it is hard to build potash levels according to the VRT rec because of the sandy soil type, as the sand can't hold onto high amounts of potash. So they're actually recommending going with the other rate.
They sent two.
They sent one for the low rate, one for the high rate.
And they're recommending the low?
Because the soil can't.
That one is, yes.
It'll just run off.
And then I've got a third one from them, and let's see what it is. Oh, this will be limestone application and hauling. And they recommend, okay, the amount is $3,488.10 or $8.91 per acre. That is for a spring application, which they really don't recommend because of compaction. But they said the price of that changes so much that if we go with the fall application, we'd have to get a different bid. They also said that a lot of it really doesn't need lime at this time anyway. And we did not put any lime on last time we did the soil test, and we still don't need it this time. So I think waiting till fall would not hurt us. Van Horn. Total cost $24,296.50. Total cost of limestone, $2,910. And they have a total bid of $27,206.50. Okay, and they're also recommending doing the lime in the fall. Does it say their bid is for the 20.67 tons of DAP and 50.22 tons of potash? Does that one, the other one just says high and low rate, doesn't it? Can you figure out which is, if it is for a high or the low?
For Van Horn?
Yeah. What the recommendation is.
They only did one bid, right?
Yes. But we don't know if it was for the high or the low.
Where's their, how much are, let me see what the dollar amount is, or,
The top is where they got the amount.
so, 20.6,
With these bids. Okay, Heritage FS out of Gilman sent one. another one we're gonna have to do math on, because they don't have a total cost, they have a per ton. So it's $354 per ton on potash, $476 per ton on DAP, and $23 per ton on limestone.
What was the cost of limestone?
20. I guess that one we're gonna have to figure the low and the high rate into, or if we just wanna do the low rate. Crop production,
What is it?
crop production out of Sheldon. They got potash at $370 a ton, DAP of $505 a ton, limestone $25 per ton. That's all the bids that we have.
What did, United say for the high, how much per ton, or, this has to be their
50.22, I guess that would be the easy way to look at it, yeah.
issue, they're not on here,
They've
they're
got,
just giving a price per ton, it's not saying on theirs, it's not saying
Well-
how much they're putting.
but at the top, they're handwritten.
Yeah, it's just $20 per ton of DAP and 52 per ton of potash. It's not, they're not saying what the application
Okay.
rate is, so I can't,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Okay, so they don't have the application right on there.
no, I don't know, that's why I was wanting to see if the other one, they gave an application rate. That's
No,
kind of,
actually,
or they just said low and high,
let me see.
because I'm not seeing, they're just saying how much is, all they put is what, at least I did not, they're not specifying what the application rate is.
No, it's 50.22 tons.
Is that the price or is that per acre?
Well, that's how many tons
Is that what
on
they're
the
putting?
high and,
Okay, so that is their ton, that is how much they're putting per
yep,
acre.
that would be their
Okay.
tonnage.
That's looking like that's the,
So that is the high rate that they're quoting there.
that's,
So, well, so that would compare to their, so it's actually that.
that's something else when you look at this, I'm trying to,
Okay, so Van Horn, they're $24,296.50 is at a rate that compares to, United Prairies, 28,790.63. So those are comparable bids.
and their bid is the, are they bidding with all of our fields? Because each field has a different application rate.
Right.
And so that's the average.
It's a total bid.
Yes, total bid, so
These
it's hard.
are total bids.
Because I'm having a hard time to know if they're talking high, because on some of the fields, 50 would be the low, and there's one where the 50 would be high, so not knowing, they just gave the the base price. And
So
they're
they
gonna be
added
application
everything up
specific,
and
and then,
said this is the total.
yeah, how many acres we have, and they're gonna apply it application specific, but not every acre is gonna get,
Correct.
so it's,
Please divide that by the total acres.
To give you an average.
I mean, the tillable acres gives you the average. And so that's really the way you should spread it anyway. Variable.
Yes, variable. That's what we asked for, was variable rate application.
391 divided into 24,296. I don't have my calculator with me, I forgot it today. That would be your average. It has to be somewhere in between the high and low
yeah,
United Prairie.
that's what it's,
Okay. Heritage, okay. See if we can figure this one out. 354 per ton on potash. Rate of 50.22 tons.
Okay, what is it?
354.
Okay.
that's it.
Ain't gonna work. You can go 354 times.
3, 5.
Now, Chad, can you tell them there's a 50.22 tons of potash?
There's nothing, that's an average.
Is that an average or is that a total needed for the field?
No, there's no,
Nothing.
everything on here is an average, like, what field am I on here? I think this is Erie, where the old house is. The minimum depth is, from the soil sample, was 36 and the high was 316.
Okay, so
And
50.2,
the majority of the field is sitting probably right around 50%. Half, which, yeah, the soil test report doesn't specify, it just, because it's all specific, it's mapped out
field
zones.
specific.
It just gives you stats. And so what I'm not knowledgeable in is converting these stats to how much you have to put on to get it to the percent that you want. This is, the soil report's just, this is how much is in the ground.
Okay.
And so, Charlie might be better at that, knowing.
How did they specifically address it in the letter regarding the low and high?
So
Whatever they put.
that's the bid form, which asks for per ton,
Right.
Because
but there is no, they were sent the soil test so that they could
Right.
look at it. So these gave us per ton, so we need to know how many tons they're applying to actually compare them.
Multiply it with 354.
Yeah, like the trolley, but they
Kind
give
of
us
what?
a price.
Because that's why I was asking him what it's calling for. And we can try and see
Total price, well, no, they're combining the prices, aren't they?
for the
They're not-
two, yeah.
Yeah, they're not separating out,
Right.
so.
Okay, try
Pounds
354
per acre, let's see here.
times 50.22
Times 50.22
times 401.
times, do you want me to go equal or times it?
Well, equal and then times.
All right, and then times what?
401.
That's 17,777.88 times what?
Okay.
Well, the first bid you gave us gave the total acres of 391.78. Now you're using 405.
Well, I don't think we need
Yeah.
to, I
Might
think
be just enough to show one
the
over.
50,
I hate to get picky.
that's not going to give us,
That was
Well,
the two
We
numbers
can
you
sit
gave
down
me.
and
Right.
figure them all out.
try 476,
Get rid of this one?
yeah.
I haven't used this much, so give me time. All right, go ahead.
476 times 20.67.
2.67 equals, there, right there.
Low, fair, high, low, low.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm figuring out their.
Okay, that should give us a comparable.
That's what this is. Fair total, simple.
So if we figured this right, then Heritage FS is $27,616.80 total, not including line.
27
What was that figure again, 27,000?
$27,616.80. Crop production price per ton is higher than that, so, I mean, I can figure it if you want, but I don't know.
Or Heritage FS, you just got one figure, that's considered a high figure or a low figure?
That should be, that is the high figure. That compares to Van Horn's high figure.
United Prairie is 28.
Right. Yeah, and they're in between Van Horn and United Prairie, so I would say we're probably pretty close to that.
Do you need this one?
Hope not.
I can find it for you.
Half the field is low.
At the low rate, looks like you got United Prairie, right?
Well, United Prairie is the only one that gave us the low rate.
Yeah. Do you think you should ask the rest of them for a low rate?
Yeah, that Van Horn, I think, I'm just looking, using the Iroquois 1 field, which is the old, with the house. Half the field is low, and to bring it to, if they're putting 50 pounds per acre, or 50 tons, that would bring it to the middle ground for.
Well, I don't understand why,
So,
I mean, essentially they gave you two bids, which nobody else did that. I don't think that's fair.
Who, Van Horn?
No, United Prairie, if they give you a low and a
Oh,
high.
right. Well, there was,
application rate.
the two
which
different,
one you want to go
no,
to.
the two different books there had two different recommendations. So everybody was given the
Oh,
same
which one?
information. they saw that there was two different, and so they
I get that,
called.
but they kind of covered their bases both ways,
Right.
so I don't
Well-
know that, you see where I'm at with that? They,
They,
essentially, they're
they
trying to-
called, and I said, give us both ways. This other one, Van Horn also called, and I thought I told them to give us both ways too, since that's what the recommendations that were given, because we didn't know which way we were gonna go. You know, I'd rather have more bids to bring to you guys than to say, no, we'll do it this way or that way. So, but I guess
Could have to
it's
do
an,
it now.
it's an assumption, but I would assume their price per ton will be the same, whether it's the high rate or the low rate.
I know we didn't give the same information to everybody,
No, they did. They all were given the same information.
but you didn't tell everybody to do a high and a low.
The ones that called me, the others I had no idea.
Yeah, the ones that inquired, that's on top, that's.
Yeah, if they didn't inquire, I didn't know, because in the past, they've never given bids.
It's a matter of how much do we want.
And if they all figured at the high rate,
I don't think.
and we decide to go with the low rate, their price per ton,
It will be different.
well,
It's a
it
little
should be
somewhere
comparable.
comparable, but sometimes multiple trips you can make.
Right.
Hauling.
But we're doing a lot of guessing here.
Yeah,
Taking a lot of time on something that should not take this much time. I mean, if they have the information, they bid it. This is,
right.
Well, it comes down to how much we want.
Well, on the high bids, it looks like Van Horn actually has the lowest cost on the high bids.
That's,
You're asking that farm operator to reimburse your cost on this, right?
Correct. We get the bids, we pay for it, and the operator then reimburses us. That's in the contract.
Are you gonna fertilize for high yields and low price time, or are you going to go for a little less fertilizer?
And that's where United Prairie's recommendation was to go with the low rate, just because the soil won't hold the high rate.
how much did United say they're putting on per ton? Because Van Horn has 50.
They both have the same 50.22
That's the
tons.
low.
No, that's the high.
That's the
The
high.
low is 20.15 for potash, 20.43 for DAP.
Okay, yeah. You know, Van Horn assumed to do high, but
I think the
So
only,
what are we trying to determine here?
well,
We're trying to
I guess,
determine which bidder at which rate.
right.
So do we have the information we need to do that?
I'm trying to assume.
Well, they're saying if
Well-
you put it on at the high rate, it's just gonna run off or something, it's not gonna stay in the soil, is that what they're saying?
potash will run.
It leaches
It leaches.
through the
Potash
soil.
will leach
Yeah.
on sandy.
Do we need more information?
Well, we have a high-low for United Prairie. What if we just send it back out to the other ones and ask them to break it down for high-low, bring it back? Of course,
Seems like we're a little confused here.
Well, that's, when they send in the bids in different formats, it makes it difficult.
Well, what format did,
Well, some have total
No,
and
what
some
did
have
we
per
ask?
ton.
or we
It
vague?
says per ton,
Okay,
and we'll get to that
okay.
after, but some of them give a total price because they don't want their per ton price out there.
Right.
But they,
But we
but
asked
they
for
have
per
to tell us how
right,
much,
I thought we went through this last year.
Yeah, we
and
did,
it
you
was-
wanna do the same thing.
We're doing the same thing again.
but they need to tell us how much they're putting.
But we asked for per ton, correct?
That's what this says, yes.
And
Well, but it also has a line for total amount of bids, so what they did was they did not put per ton, they just put the total amount of bids.
And so we're supposed to figure all that out? I don't think so.
Well,
Well, like Charlie, you can divide it by.
if they had all given total amount of bids, because the ones that priced per ton did not give a total amount of bid.
We passed the, I just want to look
Yeah,
at
so
it.
it's like,
Spun around this.
Yeah, it's,
This is too much confusion and time, it shouldn't be like
If
that.
I remember, sometime in
Thank
the
you.
past, there were bidders that accepted a bid and actually fertilized more than the local requirement, or at least the requirement we made.
the farmers,
Yeah.
yeah,
Put on-
yeah, they can always put more on at their own expense,
Yeah.
if they think it will benefit them.
I think we need to make it very clear that they fill it out the correct way. So they're gonna put all the lines should be filled out or the bid's gonna be thrown out. It should just be that simple. I mean, we're not trying to hide anything,
Right. But then we throw them all out at this point.
Well, I mean, we go to do it next time, let's make it a little
Application
clear.
rate is, would help too, just to know, we're gonna put
right.
some of them.
We shouldn't have to spend as much
Because this is the cost.
So do we wanna, maybe move on and figure this out later, or
And
Send
then
in
you
a-
can't really, we have to open the bids,
You have to
We
accept
either-
or reject, or
yeah, we have to,
send back.
I mean, we can accept conditionally,
United Prairie put down there on their lows, did they drive it all out? Or did they just give the total?
Well, United did it for the price per ton, what their per ton price is. Let me find their other United.
no, that's not the price per ton, that's the ton.
No, right here, please give cost for each area listed, $50.22 per ton. And they say this
No.
is the high rate.
That's the tonnage that's applied, the 50.22.
We have a dollar sign.
Oh, it does on that?
Yeah,
one?
on our bid
Okay.
form, it says give cost. And so it's not how much they're putting on, it's
Where did they write it though?
right here.
Ahead of the dollar sign, so they did not write it where the per ton is. Dollars per ton.
$73 per acre.
Because it would be, it can't be that dollars per ton if you compare it to the one that gave us dollars per ton, because then they would be a whole lot lower.
I mean, I just know our bid form says give cost for each, and they put a number there. Not saying that's in our favor or their favor, they just,
Well, I guess one thing we can decide is, do we want to go the high rate or the low rate?
I just
I think we should go with the low rate.
say low rate,
Yeah, I do too, low rate.
and then
I make the
Farmer
motion, we
wants more,
just
you can add
accept
more,
it.
like Charlie said.
farmer wants more,
Yep.
then they can, because I mean, they pay for it.
They, yeah,
anyway, So,
they do pay for it.
if they want more, but with the leaching in the price, Charlie was saying,
I make the motion, we should accept the one from United Prairie for a total of $18,221.48 and skip the line.
Second.
Look at the line back in the fall when they all. We need to make a note on that, so we can remember which one it is, because there is two from them. And then make sure Amanda gets all those back. She needs to keep them in the records. Okay, we have a motion and a second, so we'll do a roll call vote.
Yeah.
Halt,
I abstain.
Kasparkin,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes. Okay. Now, do you have that form for the bid? Okay. Okay. It is not a whole lot different.
There's three here, what do you got? All right, so we need one more, you got
Oh,
it?
yeah.
There's one in here.
Okay, we got it.
How many lawn care bids do we have?
Oh,
Lawn care?
no, I don't know.
No, we don't have any, no, we haven't sent it out for bid, that's what that, we have to send it out.
You're hoping.
that word, so let's go with it.
Let's get this.
Got my line.
Okay, this is the proposed new bid form for this.
Well, we have
Look
to
at
yard
it and see if we need to change anything to make it more clear. It actually looks like it's about the same as what we've sent out,
Oh, can't have kids, right?
so. I don't
This ain't
know.
your house.
Looks good to me.
Is there something we can change to make it more clear?
I think that's pretty,
We can't come back and no under cars.
and if they don't send it back like it's supposed to, then forget it.
We might add that, all forms, all information must be complete or your bid will
Right.
not be,
Yeah, right, that'd be a good addition to it.
that will
Maybe we should say
automatically make it
maybe rejected, because if we only get one bid,
Yeah.
How many do you send out, or are you going to?
we send out bid forms to, I think, there's 9 in the county.
Be
And,
nice.
I mean,
Did we specify in there how tall we want it and all that kind of stuff?
No, this is the,
no, that's the bid form to try to help straighten out this fertilizer and make it
Oh.
easier.
Oh.
I thought we were on.
No.
I moved on to the lawn.
Oh, there you go.
Nice try.
Charlie's moving everybody on.
I would probably just put cost per, they have the total pound. Oh, okay, yeah, well, we can figure that out. Just something on here that says
Now, there's
total.
several of them do not want to put a cost per ton.
Well, we can figure that, they can just put, they're
Well,
gonna
that's what we
put,
thought
if they're
here.
gonna put
That's
10,000
what we thought
pounds, they can put, it's gonna cost
Well, why don't they want to? What do they think we're gonna do
half
with
a
it?
fish, well, it's public.
It becomes public and they.
But
The big
every,
farmer will get a break, because he buys more than a small
Well-
farmer, usually.
But everybody wants the same price.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Right,
So,
and
so
they're-
it's all and those prices get shared amongst all of them. They all call each other, all the farmers, he charges this, they charge that, and then they work each other against the,
Well, they see what's paid through here, so it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the rest of it. I mean, I don't know why you would want to get all the information and just make it complete.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Highway, the quotes we get, you tell them how much we need at each location, and they all bid
So much per ton.
so much per ton, but they have to provide so much, so the prices are known. I mean, the prices and rates are known, and no one hedges on that, and they have lots of bidders.
Little difference in their cost, each one, because they're different distance from the
Yep.
site.
Yep.
I would just put
They
on
have a
there,
different
all information
cost.
must be included or your bid may
maybe reject.
properly be rejected.
I agree.
I like the part knowing how much of each.
Gotta be.
This way, yeah.
Like a breaker.
Yeah, how much of each, and then the cost for potash. They don't have to list per ton, we can figure that out.
We'll make it easier on us, let them.
Okay, yeah, I guess it doesn't ask for a price per ton, it's asking for a total price.
For, if they're gonna provide 1,000.
Right, which is different from what's on here, so.
I say per ton. They can do all the work, we shouldn't have to.
Well, if they all bid the same,
Well, that's part of
Right.
the form, is to make it the same, and the highway does it. I
Right.
mean, they're very, it's all standard,
Yeah.
because the state's involved in it with their forms. I mean, and they all know, it's all,
The ladies are all, they're writing down each other's prices. You
Yeah.
ever notice that?
yeah, they're all writing down each other's prices. They all, I mean, granted distance, but that's the same thing with the fertilizer applicator, depending how close they are to they have to
I
factor
do
that
feel though
cost.
that if somebody calls you and asks you something, that you need to say the information is there, because,
well,
you know, that could be a real contingent point with some people,
They-
saying, well, Lyle told me this, and he didn't tell me this.
they called,
They found an error with,
one found an error, and so we contacted the soil test people, and then once they got back with us, we sent that out to everybody that had picked up bid packets. Problem is, some of them can get the bid packets online, and we don't know it. So,
Was that information posted online then, that there had been a,
that I don't know. I did not.
because if they picked it up online, how did they get the soil test then? Did they have to get that separately, or is that a PDF on the online part of it?
It was emailed to them, if they requested.
Well, yeah.
if they-
Everybody, we sent out an email, well,
in order to bid, they have to have this. So they would have
Right.
emailed or called Amanda, so.
what did we send out with the original letter? Just the letter. So, yeah, I don't know where they got it. Maybe
This isn't in USDA's,
they may have contacted them, you know, they could have gone back in the minutes and found out who did the soil test and contacted them directly.
and the company would give them the results.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Well, I just think everybody needs the same information all the time, so if you're having a conversation with somebody, you know.
if I have a conversation, then I try to get back to Amanda so that she can distribute it. I mean, that's
So
what,
everyone that emailed for this packet that we
Yeah.
knew,
everybody that we knew about, we got them the information. And I don't know
the
how else.
correction would be to just put a
Yeah.
correction to the posting on the website saying there was an error. If you want the updated soil test,
And then that
contact.
doesn't guarantee it because.
No, but it's
No,
out
but
there.
it's out there, that's all it is. If they went to the website and then bypassed Amanda, us or this, and went to this company, it's
On
there.
them, they have accepted responsibility that you got it.
Well, that's where we tried, this is.
What was the main error that they
Good
found?
morning.
If
Do you
don't have
remember,
that, fine.
Amanda?
Okay. No biggie.
Did we have, all I know is when he called, I called, told the guy what to look at, and then he got it back. So, I think one of them might have been acreage or something of one of the fields and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Okay. Can we have a motion then to change the bid sheet to the one that was passed around, to make that official?
Sure, I'll make a motion to change the bid sheet to the new approved form.
Second.
With the correction of adding in.
I already
Oh,
wrote on
you
the
did,
bottom
that'll
of it.
work.
All right, all in favor of changing that?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Now, Charlie's gone and we're going on to lawn care. Well, basically what we need is, I mean, if there's anything that we need changed as far as, here's the bid form for lawn care. If there's anything we need changed on that prior to sending it out.
Oh, was lawn care, was it okay last summer with the present bid form? Did you have any problems?
No, I was fine with it, to be honest with you. There were a handful of complaints, as far as like edging by sidewalks and lack of weed eating and stuff like that, but I had talked to them about that late in the summer because they approached me and asked if there's anything different they need to do because they'd like to get it again this year.
No, you took care of that, you mentioned it.
And I know in the past, it seems like if there's been an issue, they have tried to take care of it.
Is that the same one that we've used, though,
Yeah.
that's not specific with how high we want the grass to be or to attempt to mow it at, so that it maintains the height of blah blah or anything like that?
Does it have that in there?
I haven't got there, so whatever I can.
And do we, I guess, how specific do we want to get on that?
Some of them want that, or they're not gonna bid on it.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the lawn care people that I talked to said that they've looked at that before and it was too ambiguous and they want more specifics so that they know what they're supposed to do each time, you know, and they know what to tell their crews to do. I don't think we can just assume that people will.
I don't see.
Well,
It says
that might
height
be
of anything in there. I might overlook it reading fast.
what would be considered an appropriate height range as far as where you want it cut to and at what point?
No shorter than 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 inches is usually.
No shorter, or whatever, I mean, you'll start killing. I can use the restroom. Yeah, I don't see anything in there about height.
I had actually gotten a sample contract last year when we talked about it. And it addressed like picking up sticks and edging, and if the grass, like if we had a rainy spell for 2 weeks and they couldn't get in and they did it, you know, got that big pile of grass, what do you do with that kind of stuff? You know, things that don't happen all the time, but still it's out there so that, you know.
Okay, are these things you want included? And how do you want it worded? And do you want it worded that if the grass is excessively long when mowed, that they must rake and remove, or?
Well, I personally think all that stuff should be in there. I don't think we should leave so many gray areas with it, but
And then at what point does that become, what's excessive grass?
It looks like a hayfield.
yeah.
Well, but that's
Too
that's
long.
subjective for, you know,
I would guess if they're gonna have to start picking up the grass, that's gonna like really increase the bids,
yes.
especially out in these fields. I know it looks like crap a lot, but it's.
It looked purple over there a lot,
Mhm.
along the outer edges.
But I'm just trying to think in my head like what that would involve and how much more that would increase the price. I mean, I guess there's one way to find out, but.
And then do we request that they remove it, or can they use it as mulch under our trees?
We can start a big county compost pile.
Mhm.
I'll use it in my garden.
You know, not, I guess now is the time to bring up anything that you think, but, you know, if they want specifics, then we need specific wording.
Do their mowers and that mulch?
To be honest, I don't know. I'm assuming that they have the capability,
You
but,
would think so,
but
expensive things.
when they're flying back and forth, no, it's just throwing it.
Yeah.
They're not mulching.
And if it gets too long, it's not gonna mulch properly anyway.
Mhm. And you have to mow slower to mulch as well.
They're at pretty high speed when they go.
Yeah.
Get in and out.
Yep.
Which, that's what we
That's-
want, we
yeah.
don't want them.
Well, I guess we'll have to go out and rake.
I don't want to start a different subject here, but I'm getting quite a few compliments on the snow removal this year.
Yeah.
Especially with the courthouse, I guess last year was, and the year before that, the prior to were kind of a headache over there, but I've had a lot of people approach me and say, you know, whoever's doing it, they're doing a really good job.
Good to hear.
You should. You get paid pretty good for it.
They are this year. They are this year.
But, you know, that is You get what you pay for.
That's right.
So maybe we could just do an addendum sheet that has specifications of what we'd like to see done so far as grass height and sticks and edging and all that kind of stuff.
So that doesn't have anything as far as...
No, that's just all the,
It does have the spring and fall cleanup, right? Or at least a fall, and maybe there wasn't a spring.
I didn't see it, yeah.
yeah, here it is. All bidders include spring and fall cleanup.
Bring the ball cleanup, yeah, both.
Well, if you want a sheet, we need to, I mean, if you've got any
The
specific...
trimming and the spraying is all included in it.
What is?
The trimming and the spraying is all included in it, weed eating, that's all included in it.
It does have spraying in here? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we must have added that last time. Because it didn't used to have spraying.
I think we did,
I think we did, because we needed a license for it. Just didn't want to, couldn't get a license, didn't want to, I don't know what, didn't want to, I think. That's okay.
Well,
So grass must be maintained at 3 inches. Off the top of my head.
well,
or
yeah,
definitely want a max height.
it would be, I guess I would say a range, because they can't maintain it 3 inches, you know.
Yeah.
I know what you're trying to say, it's just a matter of,
We definitely want a max, like, definitely not.
3 to 4 inches then would be acceptable. Anything over that, you start to get.
how much does grass grow in a week?
Depends how much it rains.
And how much they fertilize it.
I mean,
Early in the year, it can really grow
Yeah.
fast.
because I mean, we're assuming mowing once a week in the spring.
Yeah, these folks, we
We're
so
thinking 3 to 5 is a range,
So
because
they-
that gives, you get heat and rain, they could just take off.
So these bids are just for the season, that's not, you know,
Um,
every week they get, or whenever they come, they.
Right, they
It's
will
just
bid
season.
for the season,
Okay.
and then,
I looked at other bid forms, and they have, like, from this month to this month, it'll be mowed every so many days, and from this month to this month, it's mowed every so many days. I've seen that I've looked at other bid forms on the internet. I can't remember what the figures are right off the top of my head.
and then if you get a,
But then if it's a dry drought or.
yeah,
It varies because of the spring, the summer, and the fall.
Right.
Each one varies.
um, grass maintained 3 to 5 inches.
And that's just, I mean, I don't know, 3.5, 3.6, I mean, you're talking that high and that high.
I mean, 6 inches,
This is about your,
Yeah.
this is about 4. So, 3 to 5.
Well, just, if you pull up, Oswego's got one that is pretty, I mean, it says, prior to any mowing, remove any litter from the sites. You know, things that make sense, but I guess if you're not specific in them.
yeah, I would think just for keeping their equipment in good shape, they would do that, but,
Depends on who's running it. You just said it because
yeah.
Bagging is not required in grass clippings, may be left on the grass, providing no readily visible clumps remain on the grass and surface after mowing. If clippings are excessive or diseased, they shall be removed after mowing to enhance overall turf appearance and to prevent matting, clumping, and batch buildup. Final appearance after mowing shall present a neat appearance. Care shall be taken to avoid obstructions such as trees, shrubs, utility boxes,
Well,
signage.
that's a lot of,
Okay.
What's the grass height?
just,
Their grass height is 2.5 inches.
Yeah, you don't want to go over,
Right.
and that will kill.
How about grass height will be maintained, or mowing will be done to maintain grass height at 3 to 5 inches or to control weeds, because in the summertime you get the buckhorn that shoots up and the grass is still low. Of course, if they spray, then you won't have that. Okay, so overall, is this okay? And then we add the grass, maintain 3 to 5 inches or maintain weeds, and prior to mowing, remove debris? That sounds,
what did you?
There's that statement on mowing bids out a lot of their lawn mowing. Other facilities.
They make their mowers wear vests and they
Well,
put the safety
yeah,
equipment and
but
all that kind of stuff.
How many bids came in last year?
what?
How many bids came in last year?
One.
Just that one?
So yeah, it's something that we need to be proactive on this, to reach out to people and say, can you give us a bid?
Are we doing this one for a year?
In the past, we've done them for 3-year contract. So it'd be, oh, okay.
It's cold.
They've
I can't
given-
get warm to save my life, but it's so cold with that.
Oh, that might, per occurrence bid, that was weed spraying, per occurrence, and then optional 3-year, which, which the spraying, you're probably only gonna have to do once or twice a year anyway. But this bid packet was for 1 year, but in the past, we've done them for 3. Okay, yeah, it's got, they can bid per season or for 3 years, so.
How long was the last agreement? 1 year?
No, the snow removal was 1 year. And that was, wasn't it? Did we do lawn care last year?
We did it for 1 year.
1 year.
Okay. So, the way the bid form's set up, they can give per season or 3-year for the mowing and for the spraying. Or the spraying is actually per occurrence or a 3-year contract.
So did we like this company that did it for that 1 year?
It was Hall's, which is,
Not
who's done it since I've been on here.
but done.
Well, I think when I talked to Trent about giving a bid for the snow removal, they said in the past they were the ones that did the mowing, so now that they're here doing snow removal, they may be more likely to give us a bid on mowing also.
Well, we did good on the snow.
Yeah. With the height requirement thing, the only concern I have with it is just, could it increase the cost of the contract? Because, I mean, granted, we want stuff to look nice,
Right.
but I know just doing a quick search of some various companies that do it, they talk that they have to come back
Yeah.
midweek or twice a week, they charge extra, which that's a different contract, but rain or temperature.
Yeah, like in the spring it does. I mow in my yard twice a week in the spring. I don't know why it wouldn't be mowed here more often.
So,
Problem being though that it's so thick here that if you don't keep on top of it, that's when you get like that bumping stuff that, you know,
that's where
six of one, half a dozen of another, but.
rather than pick up that, if you make a clump, you pick it.
I guess, do we wanna stay with the bid form we have, do we wanna add stuff?
I'm okay with the way it is.
So much of this is if it rains on Monday and Friday,
You don't
well,
know.
somebody's gonna complain on,
Right.
because they didn't mow on Friday.
And we don't want them out there mowing if it's overly wet either.
Yeah,
And
gotta use common sense on that.
I'd rather see something, I think, in there that says if they clump it, you know, if they come in late, if they have to pick up their clumps, which then would help them think about not letting it get high. I'm trying to think, if we put too many specs in there, it'll raise the cost of the bid.
Right,
Or you drive somebody away.
but then
Well,
she said that
but
someone
what she
didn't
said too
because
is
it's
they
not
like
specific enough, so.
specifics.
Until they bid on it. They like to charge more for, let's put this in.
I think we can do the grass height. 2.5 to 5, that gives some wiggle room.
Well, it is already in here, the successful bidder will be expected to provide the general mowing at each building site in a timely fashion to ensure that the length of grass, trimmings, etc. does not detract from the appearance of the county grounds.
Yeah, but
Additionally, the successful bidder will trim the grounds where necessary to include fences, walks, backstops, and equipment. Any debris must be picked up and removed from the property. Also, bidders should include a spring and fall cleanup. This shall be done to the satisfaction of the Iroquois County Maintenance Supervisor.
that last sentence is a clause in it, the ambiguity of what is considered a good appearance. I mean, my dad
That would
run.
be up to Chris.
Yeah.
Right,
So if Chris says,
Last
We
spring
need-
I did the cleanup.
so you'll be the one in trouble if it looks
I
like.
think a minimum and maximum height
picked
of
up
grass
all limbs in
could
the
be
spring.
okay to add in there. Just,
Do what? What'd you say?
a minimum height, maximum height for grass. I think that might help. I mean, that's a big, but the power is in there if he says I don't like it.
That's right, he's the one that's gonna be telling them.
That is in there.
Well, I make a motion to leave it as is. And leave it up to Chris to decide whether it looks good or not. I think he's capable.
so Chris, you get all the
I
complaints.
was just gonna say, sure, I'll take on, I don't care.
Okay. All right, is there a second to that?
Yeah. There's-
Anybody second leaving the bid form as is and sending it out? What exactly was your motion?
To leave this as is.
And send it for bids.
Right. Send it.
Charlie seconded, so go ahead and do the vote.
Paul,
Yes.
Passbarger,
Yes.
Johnson, no, McGinnis,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Barron.
Yes. All right. Now we are going to walk around the building a little bit before we discuss stuff. Everybody needs to stretch anyway, I think.
I'm gonna order Casey's.